Alright, so we are on to the next episode of Dragon Ball Super. Now we are on to episode 107. This episode is called Revenge F, The Cunning Trap. Now, I really enjoyed this episode. I thought this episode was very good. This is definitely like the type of thing that the Tournament of Power needed. There's a lot to discuss, but let's kind of do it in order. Let's just jump right into it right now. So the episode opens up with Frost having a flashback to, I guess, a meeting that he had with Champa and Vados. And it is interesting because he asks Champa that if Universe 6 would win, Frost be forgiven. And like Frost kind of like, chooses his words carefully and says that he'll be able to, like, get in between and disgrace Universe 7, and Champa gets, like, real excited by that. Now, what's interesting is it almost kind of implies that Frost has a plan that, like, we didn't even see in this episode. And, like, obviously, I'll do my next episode preview, which we'll talk more, because Frost, again, is going to have another prominent role in the following episode. But I do think he probably has some sort of plans that might take place in future episodes. Maybe not even, definitely not this episode, and maybe not even the next episode either. Now, at the conclusion of Frost's flashback, he decides that it's time to actually begin, and he begins to target the members of Universe 7. After this, the scene cuts over to the Daishinkan and the Zeno-samas, and the Daishinkan reveals that there are 36 fighters left. And this was actually cool. I really like this. He kind of goes over briefly the various universes and how many fighters are left with, in each of these universes. And we actually get like a glimpse at who exactly is left. So from like what we see here, it looks like a lot of like the jobber type characters have been eliminated. And like a lot of what's left is like characters that I expect big things from. First, we start off with Universe 2, which has 6 warriors left. In particular, we have two of, we have Ribrianne, and then the other one of those 3, magical girls, Sailor Moon type characters. And then there also is the Yardrat fighter as well, who I think will have a prominent role in the next episode. Then there's Universe 3, which has 7 fighters left. Now, among all of these 7 fighters, we don't really know, like, basically jack shit about any of them, except for one of them who has a big role in this episode. Like, it's kind of like the start of the episode. Like, we'll go into him fighting, and then it goes into, like, Frost and Vegeta, Roshi, Vegeta, and stuff like that. But Universe 3 right now is a relative mystery. After this is Universe 4, which has 4 members left. And it is interesting because it only shows us 2. And then, like, we get a flash of Beerus kind of like, okay, the Daishinkan only mentioned that they have 2. Where are the others? And then, like, Krillin thinks about the fact that they have not seen those other 2 fighters to this point. And Tenshinhan does also mention how earlier at the beginning of the tournament, he did sense a faint presence, but he was never able to see them. And Whis does say, like, this could be a problem because Universe 4 is full of fighters with special abilities, and they could be waiting to strike at a critical moment. Now, there has been some spoiler kind of related talk about these. I believe it's 2, like, bug fighters. I don't know if they're actually, like, ant size or they just burrow underground. But obviously they have yet to actually, like, reveal themselves. I do expect that in maybe the next coming episodes. Maybe, next week's episode 108, possibly. After this, the Daishinkan goes over Universe 6, which he says currently has the most warriors left with 8. And then he does move over onto Universe 7, which also has 8. So it's interesting, right? Because they show us the 8 fighters of Universe 6. And we see they've got Hit, Caulifla, Kale, Vegeta, Kabe, Frost. But they also do give us a pretty clear glimpse of the 2 Namekian fighters who will be on Universe 6. I would think it's almost a sure bet that they will be fighting Piccolo at this point. Or Piccolo or Gohan, one of those 2. But it is interesting that they have not been shown. They've not really been named in the show. but now, like, they've given us several glimpses of them. And then finally, the Daishinkan goes over Universe 11, which only has 3 warriors left: Jiren, Toppo, and Dispo. And we actually do see the Universe 11 God of Destruction and Attendant. They do talk about it that, they've only got their 3 left, so that's a disadvantage in numbers. But the Clown God of Destruction himself says, yeah, but we have our universe's 3 strongest warriors, including Jiren. And the Universe 11 Kaioshin actually says, I would say we're at an advantage over the other universes. Numbers don't matter, especially when we consider that Jiren and Toppo have sustained almost no damage to this point. And that is true. We've barely seen Toppo fight. And then obviously Jiren basically sunned Kale and little else to this point. So after we go through all of the universes, talk about all their fighters and stuff, the next thing that happens is the fighter from Universe 3, Majikayo. This is the blue Bukaki monster, as I've called him. Literally a hentai character. He actually attacks Jiren, Toppo, and Dispo. Now, the reason is because the Universe 3 Kaioshin wants to get info on Jiren, find out more about him, and kind of study him. And Majikayo is able, when he sustains damage because he is like a slime monster, it basically doesn't really hurt him, he's just able to regenerate, right? So he comes in, and Dispo actually kind of does a combo attack on him. He does his supersonic speed attack, gets him down, then hits him with one of his Justice Blast moves, and it looks like Majikayo is severely injured. Dispo goes in for the finishing blow, and Majikayo kind of wraps him up in his liquid body or whatever, and then kind of reveals that, he was faking his injuries. He's completely fine. And now he has Dispo kind of trapped. At this point, Jiren decides to step in, and it is great because Jiren walks up and Majikayo's ready. Okay, you're the reason I'm coming down here anyway. And as Majikayo focuses his attention on Jiren, Dispo is actually able to blast Majikayo and then sort of escape and back up. Jiren then just walks right up to this motherfucker. Majikayo puts all of his slime into his fists and is going to make a big, hammer fist and just slap it down on Jiren. And Jiren literally just punches the air, and the shockwave just blows Majikayo out of the arena, off of the edge of the tournament of power, and he drops out and is disqualified. So just Jiren flexing. Basically that's what happened. Jiren flexes and Majikayo gets defeated. So far, from the limited stuff we've seen, he certainly does seem like a very intimidating force, considering he just puts Kale down instantly. And now this dude it's literally just 1 second, boop, you're gone, out of here. Now we do see a shot of Goku standing nearby, who actually sees it. And, it's interesting. Usually, you'll see Goku kind of being, really excited. Oh, yeah, so awesome, so awesome. But Goku actually almost has, a look of concern or shock at how, impressive the attack was that Jiren did. After this, Roshi is kind of still recuperating from what he was doing a couple episodes ago when he was, taking down so many members of Universe 4. And Frost actually sneaks up on Roshi and gets the jump on him. And Frost, I never really cared much for Frieza or Frost. I've said this a couple times. And, for some reason, I'm really excited for Frieza and Frost in the Tournament of Power here. I just feel like Toriyama, Toshio, Toyotaro, Toei, they've got some stuff up their sleeve. Now, Frost kind of almost begins torturing Roshi a little bit. He kind of is shooting death beams, knocking Roshi around. Goku is close by and actually races in to come save Roshi. And Ribrianne actually comes out of nowhere and gets in Goku's way. So Goku is now stuck fighting Ribrianne while Frost is kind of beating up on Roshi bad. Now Frost actually kind of knocks Roshi down and really steps hard on his shoulder. And it's almost, it seems as though he kind of dislocates Roshi's shoulder. And he kind of kicks Roshi a couple times and is really, taunting him, just being brutal and stuff. And we see Roshi kind of pulls out a bottle for the Mafuba and kind of uncorks it and places it down. And then he, like, powers up to his max power state and goes to attack Frost a bunch more times. They have a little bit of clash, but then Frost is able to easily knock Roshi down. Roshi kind of explodes out of the rubble, and, like, the smoke clears away, and he's standing, full ready and fires the Mafuba off at Frost. Now, it is pretty cool, obviously, to see the Mafuba again. None of us expect that we were going to see the Mafuba 500 times in Dragon Ball Super, but seriously, like, it is just getting used constantly. Now, Roshi actually misses with the Mafuba, right? Like, he catches Frost in it, and he's able to, swing him around, but when he goes to actually toss him into the bottle, it seems as though his injured shoulder kind of causes him to mess up, misses, and then, he hits the ground with Frost. Very similar to what Roshi did way back in Dragon Ball when he attempted to use the Mafuba on King Piccolo, but he missed and then he died as a result of using the Mafuba. Here, Roshi does not die, but obviously his injuries and then obviously him being as tired as he is causes him to fuck up and not actually, be able to nail Frost and get him into the bottle. Now, Frost is, like, stunned. Like, he had no idea Roshi was going to do this and is, like, really surprised. Like, okay, I can't believe this motherfucker had this attack up his sleeve. And he kind of notices to his right. He looks over, and Vegeta is just kind of standing up on a cliff, just, surveying the battlefield. And then we see, like, Frost, like, get, like, a really evil look on his face, like he has a plan. And he looks down, and he sees the bottle that Roshi had put there, that Roshi was going to seal Frost in. And then, like, it's great because it goes to commercial break, and, like, we see Frost with, like, this crazy grin. Like, it's so good, so good. So Frost then kind of does, like, a rapid-fire death beam, and he's kind of, like, torturing Roshi a little bit. Like, he has a blast hit him in the arm, a blast hit him in the leg. Very similar to what Third Form Frieza did to Piccolo back in the Namek Saga. Frost also takes one hand and shoots a death beam over at Vegeta. Vegeta, without looking, is able to block it, and you see he gets really pissed off. Obviously, Vegeta, is disgusted by Frieza and Frost, and, like, the fact that this Frieza-looking motherfucker is going to try and attack Vegeta pisses Vegeta off. So Frost kind of walks forward towards Roshi and keeps shooting him with death beams, and then he kind of starts to focus a big one on his head and says, like, try not to die from this fucker. This is going to hurt bad. When Vegeta comes in and actually starts smacking Frost around and saves him. And it is great because Roshi's like, oh, Vegeta, you saved me. And Vegeta's like, nah, motherfucker, don't think anything of it. I just hate Frost. So Vegeta approaches Frost, and, like, Frost actually, like, you see him, like, he starts turning into a chatterbox, and, like, he's clearly trying to buy time, and, like, Vegeta basically tells him, like, it doesn't matter how strong you may have gotten, like, you're gonna get your ass beat. And Frost starts, telling some of his bullshit, like, oh, no, you see, what had actually happened, what had actually happened was I got weaker, I was a fugitive on the run, and my body is just worn down, and, like, even this one punch, I'm dizzy already. And, like, we know for a fact that this is a lie, because when Hit approached Frost to recruit him into the Universe 6 Tournament of Power team, Hit clearly stated that Frost was stronger, and obviously we have no reason to doubt Hit at that time. I would, more so believe what Hit was saying there than, like, Frost's story right here. Now, Vegeta, like, says, like, all right, that enough buying time, and, like, right after that happens, Autumn Vegeta actually crashes through the rock behind Frost and starts exchanging blows with Vegeta. And we see that it looks like Frost maybe used, like, his death beam to kind of, like, melt some rocks onto where Vegeta's ears are. So, like, if Vegeta insults him, it won't really do anything because Vegeta is unable to hear. At this point, we get a pretty cool action sequence where, like, it's kind of like 1-on-2, where, like, Vegeta and Frost start exchanging blows. Like, Vegeta is, like, way superior to Frost, so he's able to, like, knock Frost back, and then, like, right as he'll go to, like, shoot a beam to try and, like, finish Frost off or something, Vegeta will jump in and, like, basically completely deflect the attack, because Vegeta, has basically, like, impregnable defense or whatever. And, like, this happens, like, a little bit where, like, Vegeta and Frost kind of are clashing, but then like Vegeta will like block the attack or begin hitting Vegeta as well. And we see it where Frost is like really starts to play it up. Like he's like, ho, 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 the little Frieza left. Oh, ho, 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 ho. No ordinary attack will work on Vegeta. And like you could clearly see what Frost is doing. Really playing it up. Like he basically stops, looks Roshi directly in the eye and says, no ordinary attack will work on Vegeta. Is basically what happens. So Roshi kind of sees his opportunity and goes to fire another Mafuba. Now, Vegeta actually is like really like, like screaming like, don't do it, old man, you'll die at this point if you push yourself any further. Like, Vegeta like really turns around and is like screaming. And Frost, who has his back turned to Roshi, like kind of sees, Vegeta's reaction and turns around and gets the big grin on his face again when he sees what it is that Roshi's doing. So Roshi at this point shoots the Mafuba, and he's actually, of course, aiming at Vegeta because he fell for Frost's ploy, oh, no ordinary attack is going to work, nothing at all. And Frost actually jumps in front and uses the Mafuba reflection, which is the same thing that Piccolo was able to do when Kami tried to do the Mafuba on him back in Dragon Ball. If a lot of you guys have not seen Dragon Ball, you really should catch up at this point because a lot of this stuff is references to original Dragon Ball. So Frost uses the same technique that Piccolo does. I guess Piccolo in Dragon Ball does sort of say that like he figured out a counter strategy to it because he knew that was the only thing that could stop him. He wasn't even really concerned about Goku. He was pretty confident he could beat Goku. So Frost was able to figure out how to do this after just being hit by it once, which I guess does kind of really mesh in line with this whole, Frieza and Frost, like, the Frieza race are like prodigies. I guess we could almost say geniuses now, because, I mean, it's a big jump from Frost being hit by the Mafuba, being like, what the fuck is this? Like, he literally, when Zamasu gets hit by Trunks' Mafuba, he is screaming like a bitch, like, nah! Like, he's literally like, the Wicked Witch of the West, like, gets hit by water. She's like, I'm melting. Like, that was Zamasu. Ah! Like, Frost goes from being Zamasu trapped in Mafuba, screaming like a little girl, for this is the first time he's seen the technique, first time he's being hit by it, to now immediately has a countermeasure, and he actually deflects it and hits Vegeta with it. So Vegeta gets hit with the Mafuba. Now, Roshi instantly sees, like, Vegeta gets hit by it. So Roshi actually stomps on the bottle that Frost was going to try and, toss Vegeta into. And Frost kind of laughs and says, like, you dummy, I've already prepared for this. And he actually, like, the camera zooms in on the bottle that Roshi had used before. So now Frost actually tosses Vegeta into that first bottle from when Roshi tried to use the Mafuba earlier in the episode. He successfully does it, traps Vegeta in, hits the seal on it, and Vegeta is now trapped in the bottle thanks to Master Roshi's Mafuba technique. Now, Roshi says, like, oh, hell no. Vegeta is not about to drop out of the tournament because of me. And he charges Frost. And Frost is like, ho, 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 I've got no use for you anymore. And he does, like, his, rapid death beam, like, torture move. He hits Roshi in the arm. He hits Roshi in the leg with the death beams and knocks him back. Roshi, like, with his last gasp, out of energy, just shoots, like, a little ki blast at Frost, which Frost easily dodges and says how pathetic. Like, it's awesome because you see Roshi fall to the ground and then just with his index finger just kind of like, quickly like moves it to the left, like darts it. And we see Frost goes to throw the bottle containing Vegeta out of the ring. And the energy that Roshi had shot before after he flicks his finger comes back around and actually pierces the bottle, breaking it in half. And Vegeta explodes out of it in Super Saiyan Blue, ready to fuck Frost and Vegeta up. Based upon how this played out, I am confident that the writers knew exactly what they were doing. And when they designed the ending, they knew what they were doing. They knew that people would try and be smartasses, look too deep into shit. Oh, wait, Krillin got knocked out first. There he is in the ending. Oh, Ten Shinhan got knocked out second. He's in the ending. That's the order. Vegeta is out next. They knew that the fans would go crazy over this. And then they put out those spoilers. Frost deflects the Mafuba back on Vegeta. Then the spoilers, after that for episodes give no mention of Vegeta. So people were like jacking off, like ready, like, oh, Vegeta is going to get knocked out in this episode. And it was all a ploy. It is great. Like, they built it up to this moment where, like, Vegeta gets trapped with the Mafuba in the bottle. And it's like, holy shit. Like, Vegeta fucked up really bad. And now it's going to be up to, like, Goku and Gohan to save Universe 7. But then, the bottle breaks and Vegeta is freed. Now, I did mention, I believe it was in my preview video for this episode, or it might have been the spoilers, but I did not think Vegeta was going to be dropping out so soon. I did indeed foresee that this was a trick by Toei, whoever it was, Toriyama, Toyotaro, whichever one of them just, came up with this little ploy, I did see through it. Now, what I was thinking was going to happen was the episode was kind of going to cut off here, Frost basically, holding up the bottle with Vegeta trapped in it, and that would be how the episode ended. And then in the next episode, I thought that at some point Vegeta would be freed. I was actually thinking it might have been by Frieza, like Frieza may have been the one to free Frost. I was also, like, as soon as Vegeta was sealed in the bottle, I was thinking Frost might eat the bottle, similar to what Piccolo did back in Dragon Ball. When he sealed Kami, he ate the bottle, and then Goku was able to go inside of Piccolo, and Piccolo went into his giant form and free Kami that way. I thought perhaps Frost would eat the bottle, just saying like, oh, I'm going to torture Vegeta later. I'll just put him here now for safekeeping or some shit. And then maybe someone would absolutely body Frost, basically hit him so hard he'd cough it up, kind of like when Gohan hit Cell and he coughed up 18. I thought it might be a similar thing here, but no, like, they could have played it up a little bit more. Vegeta was sealed for like under a minute. Like, they could have let it, go a little longer. But I do have to say, like, they really, 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 really sold Master Roshi hard in this tournament. Master Roshi was incredibly impressive. Very, very befitting of his title, basically Goku's first master. Well, I guess you could say Grandpa Gohan was Goku's first master. But, like, Roshi was like a true, like, master apprentice type thing, along with when Goku and Krillin first came to him. I'm really happy at Roshi's treatment, but I must confess, I really do wish that, maybe Ten Shinhan and Krillin could have also gotten the same treatment. But, it is what it is. So, Vegeta is Super Saiyan Blue now. He instantly shoots the rock off of Vegeta and then starts insulting him like, oh, you scrap junk metal bastard. And Vegeta curls up into a ball and falls down to the ground. Now, this shit pissed me off right here. Vegeta points at Frost and says, oh boy, you're next, Frost. And Frost literally does like some League of Shadows from Batman, League of Assassins shit, and just goes like, oh, you won this round, but I'll get you next time. And he shoots a blast at the ground, and then smoke comes up, and he's just gone. It's like, oh, no, bullshit. Hang on. No. Vegeta just got embarrassed big time. And then he just lets Frost get away? It's like, you're not gonna tell me Vegeta could not have stopped Frost instantly right there. Vegeta was at peak anger for being embarrassed right there. They want to keep Frost around in the tournament. I'm fine with that. But there should have been a better way to go about it than what happened there. Like, it was ridiculous. It literally was like the Batman moment. Like, Frost basically just reaches into his utility belt, pulls out smoke bombs, throws it on the ground, and then, like just disappears. It's like, no, bro, no. We're not watching Batman right now. Vegeta can sense his ki. You're not gonna tell me, no, whatever. No, Vegeta, what? So at this point, Vegeta just straight pushes Vegeta off of the edge because they're pretty close to the edge of the ring. And he tells him, like, go do something about that fragile ego of yours. It's like, oh, okay, Vegeta. You're one to talk, my man. But then Vegeta looks down on Roshi and says, all right, old timer, it's time for you to drop out as well. You're going to die. Again, in Dragon Ball, he uses a Mafuba once and he dies. Now here he is in Dragon Ball Super, his limit, he was able to use it 3 times, but clearly he is close to death. Frost gave him heavy injuries. He sustained heavy damage while fighting Frost. So Vegeta tells him, eat a senzu before you die and leave the rest to me. And, like, he turns and walks away and, like, lifts his hand up to kind of, like, wave him. And it's like, okay, like, Vegeta also said that with a very soft tone. So, like, I do like, Beerus is starting to respect a lot of these dudes, and now Vegeta as well. Very cool. So Roshi falls out. Krillin and Tenshinhan give him a senzu bean. Beerus actually mentions, like, you've definitely earned my respect, Master Roshi. So that is how the episode ends right there. Frost is still around. And the last thing that we get a shot of is Ribrianne standing there with her pink aura fired up. And then we see base form Goku standing there smiling, his aura kicking up. So it looks like it's leading us into the next episode where we are going to get Goku versus Ribrianne, which I certainly am fine with. Overall, this was a very solid episode. I was very satisfied with how Frost is being portrayed in the tournament. It would be awesome. Like, I hated Frost so much in the Universe 6 vs 7 tournament. I thought it was just a horrible idea. But if it leads into, like, Frost being ridiculously cool, which he has so far in Tournament Power, that'll make that arc better in hindsight. Like, if the Tournament Power keeps it going. Like, that's a cool thing. So, anyways, y'all let me know what you thought about the episode. Overall, I'd say it's very good. Definitely one of the better episodes of the Tournament Power so far. This and then the Super Saiyan God episode were very good. We're really closing in now. I think we have next week's episode, and then after that is the 1 hour special. Woo!